I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
For the weekly broadcast of Ask Welfare Rights, you have been successful yet again. This is a Friday, and it's 10 o'clock, and we are here. I always say we because that includes Marion Kramer, who is in semi-retirement, but I've got a different kind of we today, because I'm here with my colleague, another member of the Michigan Welfare Rights Organization, Ms. Teresa Clayton. So, Teresa, thank you very much for joining me again this morning. I appreciate it. Audience, if you wanted to share some information or call in to ask a couple of questions, you can call us. The area code, as you know, is always 313. Phone number is 868-0342 or 868-0351, or you can call in at 868-4336. We're on the website again, and that is if you paid your bill. And the website information is www.tv33whpr.com. You also know that if you have one of those great big old TVs in the basement of your house, you can go get one of those metal clothes hangers and put it on the back of that TV to make an antenna. And you can get the radio station also, the TV station also, and going to 15.2. I'm told, Ms. Teresa, that if you didn't pay your cable bill at Comcast, you might be able to go to channel 91. And sometimes it'll come through if you didn't pay your bill. So there are multiple ways of being able to look at the broadcast. And I want to say that I'm very concerned because we keep getting residents in multiple cities that call and say they are not able to view the program or hear the program using these call-in letters. They can't, or these numbers, and they can't access the program. So, I'm going to mention that again to RJ. Certainly HT is here today. And if that comes up again, maybe that's something that he needs to know about. But this is a community radio and TV broadcast station, and folks need to be able to access programs here in Highland Park, one of the few, if not the last, African-American owned business that deals with broadcasting in and around the area. And in just a few minutes, we're going to raise why affirmative action may have some relevancy starting today and going forward. Want to say something about last week's broadcast. We had our treasurer, Eric Sabri, was our guest. And I'm going to give this number. Like Marion used to say, have your numbers, your paper, your pencils, have all those things at the ready. Eric Sabri gave this information about the MyHouse program. MI stands for Michigan, and then the next letter is H for housing, and A for assistance, and F for fund. 313 is the area code, 388-9799, 388-9799. Now, that's the direct number to Wayne Metro. And if you contact Wayne Metro because you have back property taxes and you need some help, if you contact that number, 388-9799, because you have an outstanding light bill, an outstanding gas bill, your water is in a delinquent status, you have property taxes, you've gotten some foreclosure notifications, what's that other one? Land contract issues, your mortgage is behind. And what the treasurer told us last week is that if your internet is not working the way it should because of failure to pay, that this program will address that as well, because these days, and this is June 30th of 2023, you have to have access to the internet. And I know that that's a struggle for a lot of people, but you have to have that kind of access or you get left behind. So all of those programs are still available. I promised the treasurer I wouldn't give out false information and tell people it's too late, can't apply anymore, you missed it. So he didn't want me to do that, so I won't do that. There's still time for people to apply and to try to figure out what they need to do. So 313-388-9799. And then I want to say something about the Lifeline program. Now, the Lifeline program is the city of Detroit's best representation of a water affordability plan. It is not a water affordability plan. It is a water rationing plan where you are assigned, your household is assigned a certain amount of water that can be used by your household every month. And if you go over that amount, there are repercussions. But the amount that is assigned, it was down here. But we raised a lot of sand, a lot of questions, so the amount of water that's allocated to low-income households now is within the range of possibilities. You must get on the Lifeline program. If you do not and your water gets shut off, it is really difficult for welfare rights or anyone else to try to get your residential water restored. So the number to get into that program, certainly the number I already gave, but you can also call the Water Department directly, 313-267-8000, 313-267-8000. The program is called Lifeline. Lifeline. So they're throwing you a lifeline. And that's about right, because you need water to wash your hands. You need water to cook food in your house. We've got an outbreak again of forest fires, and people can hardly breathe. So once you get in your house and you've been rubbing your face and whatever else, you need to be able to wash your hands or wash your face so we can take those particulates off of your skin. So those issues and these numbers, we're giving them out on a regular basis, but you need to access them, because some of these programs are going to go by the wayside fairly soon. Really, really, really. So now Miss Teresa is a expert in terms of education. But yesterday, Ms. Clayton, there was a ruling by the Supreme Court that has sort of upended everybody's thinking. We've had affirmative action or a process in place to say, because of years of discrimination, there has to be a pathway for folks that have been left out of these systems to get involved. So for a very long time, certain elite colleges had 1 and 2 African Americans, 1 and 2 Native Americans, 2 and 3 Hispanic Americans, and the numbers were so low. And the access had to be created so that other folks can get into these colleges. And yesterday, the United States, the federal Supreme Court, said, nah, we don't need that anymore. Those problems don't exist like they used to. So, Ms. Clayton, I know you read it and you talked about it, or you thought about it, and you mentioned it already this morning. What is your thinking about knocking down affirmative action? What do you think?
I think you know what I think, Maureen. It shouldn't have been. It should have been kept in place. I know I benefited from affirmative action, uh, and I know my people my age. We all realize we benefited from affirmative action, being able to go to school. I hate to see it knocked down, and so then becomes, what are we gonna do next?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is a big one. This is a big one. Caller, you the first caller of the day. Caller, welcome to the Ask Welfare Rights broadcast. And caller, you are on the air.
Grand Rising, Grand Rising, Grand Rising, everyone.
And grand rising to you as well. And good morning.
Good morning.
You may have a comment or a thought. Can we still hear a comment or a thought about what we're raising now, Grand Rising, about the Supreme Court suggesting that we don't need affirmative action anymore, that racism that used to exist does not exist anymore. So, did you have a comment you wanted to share about that?
Well, it's going to be a brief comment, mainly because this is just insane.
Mr. Tyler, we need a little bit more volume.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is just insane to me, but it's been insane what's been going on in America ever since they stepped their foot on this soil. So I just want our leaders to come together, because this is another alarm that, we have been once again hunted, mislined, just too much hatred. It's just hatred through and through, and I just need our people to come together, because we can fight this. I don't have any more thoughts right now. I'm asking everyone to please pray for our brother, our soldier, Malik Shabazz, who's in critical condition.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what's really been on my plate and in my heart,
Yes.
I mean, he's an unlimited soldier.
Yes, yes. I was able
He
to.
shuts down dope houses, and
Yeah, yeah,
he always Crime Stopper, looking for the lost and the murdered victims. He shuts down supermarkets with rotten meat.
yeah.
And he's been doing this for years, and so I need all the brothers right now to come together, and let's throw away our ego and our pride, okay?
I remember
'Cause this is
years
what he
ago
wants.
when I first met Malik Shabazz, years ago, and in the Cass corridor where Welfare Rights was at Cass, United Methodist Church, and there were all these grocery stores that were selling meat that
Yeah.
was expired.
Yeah.
And meat that should have been red had tinges of green on it.
Yeah.
And Malik and folks like Malik got together
Yeah.
and would go to those grocery stores and point out these deficits
Yeah.
and tell these folks, just because this is a store located in a poor community doesn't mean we need poor service. So that was a long time ago, and
Long time ago.
yeah, he's been a voice for equality and whatnot for decades. So yeah, prayers and more prayers, because he's going to need it.
Yes.
Yeah, very true, very true. All right, Grand Rising, what's happening in Highland Park that we need to know about?
Right. There's a lot going on. What we're planning July the 18th is a Lansing trip, a protest and rally to Lansing, because we've got to get to our governor, and we haven't heard a word from her yet. And the people here need to stand up and band together, and the nation and the world needs to hear, the residents of Highland Park and supporters of Highland Park, that this is an injustice done to us about the water with Glima or with Eagle. And so we're bringing it to attention, national attention. It's always been that Glima has been spewing out misinformation to the public, and it's all on 2, 4, and 7, that we don't pay our bills, that we're indigent, that we want somebody else to bail us out. That's not true. And we pay our bills. We may not be rich, but we're wealthy in love, strength, unity, and power. And so we're going to have a rally. That's a Tuesday. I'll have more information with you next week. We've already got one bus, trying to work on two more. At least have 3 buses and a caravan too up there. Okay.
Okay, so I heard you say Tuesday, July the 18th.
That's right. We'll leave at 8:00 in the morning here. I don't know if we're going to leave from Highland Park or from Unity Church,
Okay.
And we'll probably get to Lansing. It takes about an hour and a half. And the Senate and the House meet 10 a.m., July 18th, 19th, and 20th, because they're in recess right now. Their last day was yesterday.
All right, so we're going to anticipate additional details between now
There will
and
be
then.
more
So,
details. We're working on this every day.
Okay.
We don't have much time.
Okay.
So this is something that we're working on. We have a small victory to talk about.
Go ahead.
We went on the GLEMA, Great Lakes Water Authority Board of Directors, on, what was that day? On Tuesday. And 6 and 7 of us spoke. And your girl, Marion Kramer, opened it up, and she urged them to come to Highland Park to talk to us, because you've been everywhere else with your town hall meetings, but you haven't come to Highland Park. So because of that, and then we backed Marion what she was saying, and had comments, because they weren't supposed to, well, they say their style on their agenda, they don't answer questions. But they did do comments, and they said they are coming to Highland Park, and in 30 days on their website, they will start having more information
good.
about Highland Park. They did have a closed session concerning Highland Park, which we did not hear what their findings was, but with the new addition of people that were on just this week, and I've been doing this for the last 2.5 years.
yes,
So
I know.
they sure know who I am, because if they don't let me speak, if they don't give me recognition, I will stand up and say, hey, wait a minute, Linda Wheeler's on there. So that's to say that's a victory. We'll have a town hall very soon.
That's good.
With Great Lakes Water Authority coming to Highland Park.
That's good. That's good to know. Now, I saw a story the other day where Highland Park residents were being blamed again as being lazy and shiftless and,
Again.
that sort of thing. And the comment, I'm trying to think the context. It was something about 12 other cities are going to have to bear the burden of delinquent water bills for because Highland Parkers won't pay the bills. And I thought, oh boy, what a horrible thing to say. But I already know that the backlash is coming when you tell somebody that Hamtramck, Detroit, Sterling Heights, Livonia, Garden City, someplace else is going to have to pay additional water bills because the folks in Highland Park won't do it. I knew that that's opening the door for a problem. So I don't know if you had heard that or not.
I haven't heard it just as of yesterday, but they've been doing that for the last 5-6 months.
Yeah, somebody else is going to have to pay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh, Lord.
Yeah, somebody else has to pay. Well, they could not answer that question, because we did talk about that. How many communities are supposedly paying for us on behalf of us?
Yes.
And they didn't answer that question, but they're going to have to come with questions and with answers, to us when they come here to Highland Park.
And
it's a big lie. It's a way big lie.
It's a big lie. And they need to be forced to explain and to reveal what other cities, certainly in Wayne County, Oakland County, and Macomb County, what other cities have delinquent water bills? Oh, okay, because the way it's always presented is that the folks in Highland Park is just a lazy crew. And, who else is behind on water bills?
Right.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
All right, what else is going
$1 million
on?
as of last Friday.
How
So
much?
They got $1 million. So they dropped that $20 million down to $19 million.
Well, I understand there are two debts. There's a
there
$20
are.
million debt, and then there's something else that looks like $24 million.
34. So altogether it's $54 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, welcome to America. Yeah. I tell you. What else is going on in the Highland Park, Madam Grand Rising?
July the 22nd, the Highland Park Board of Education, we're featuring our annual Jazzy Jam registration recruitment drive here at Barber Preparatory Academy. We start from 12 noon to 4 p.m. I'll have more information about that, but we'll have bouncy houses. We'll have a petting zoo. The police department will do a nice dance for you on stage. The fire department hands out friendly fireman caps to all the children. We'll have food, popcorn, hamburgers, hot dogs, Cinnabons, lemonade. We've got a wonderful poetess on stage, Spider-Man in the full costume for all the children and adults
All
will
right.
be on stage, as well as a wonderful woman, and I don't remember her name right now, but she does a jazz concert, Maureen. You think you somewhere like at Baker's Keyboard.
Okay. All righty. Now, that's July 22nd, and you're going to give us
Yes.
some more details
That's
about
on
that at a
Saturday,
later
July
date.
22nd. I'm still tightening up the event, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. And now this is Friday. I'm starting to get a number of parents, community folks calling over the welfare rights wanting masks. Now, of course, they want masks because Canada is burning up. And the winds are bringing all of these particulates and whatnot to Detroit and Philadelphia and Minnesota and all. You know, it's a mess trying to breathe, and this is going to go on for several months. It'll be better, and then it'll be not as good. It'll be better, then it'll be bad. So I'm getting that, but we're all real familiar with the wearing of masks, and of course that means this is Friday. So what is the Highland Park Health Department able to do for some other things that only happens on Friday? Tell us about that.
Well, you know, Marion, it hasn't gone anywhere. COVID-19, COVID 2021, I don't know, it may be up to 46. COVID ain't gone nowhere. It is still here, people. COVID is still here. And our answer here in Highland Park for all of Wayne County is that the Ernest T. Ford Recreation Fieldhouse over at 10 Pinkett here in Highland Park, we're giving out free boosters, vaccines, that's Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer. Right now, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and on Mondays, you can have your COVID test. So it's free, it's free, it's free, and everyone is welcome. That's what we're offering here in Highland Park and for all of our Wayne County residents. Come on and get your vaccine. It's not too late. Come on and get your booster. It's not too late.
Okay, all righty. I like the way that sounds because now there are conversations on the different television networks talking about additional booster shots may be available in the fall. And you know, you can hardly get over one crisis before the next one shows up. And now we've got this Canadian nightmare going on, and we've never seen this before. And people are outside because you have to go outside, and you can only hold your breath for so long. And then the television set shows you first thing in the morning the haze that's over everything, and it's because the smoke is filtering down into the cities that I just named. So we better be boosted up. We better be vaccinated up. All of those things need to happen because right now it's warm outside and the air is thick. Today it's going to be 88 degrees. Oh, my goodness. For us upper respiratory persons, I want to take my shirt and put it up over my head. Well, it's going to be hard to breathe in about 2 more hours, okay? I tell you. What else is going on in Highland Park? That's almost too much. Anything else going on, I'm going to start crying. What else is going on in Highland Park?
July the 29th, our McLean Block Club, we are having our first Shop Till You Drop.
Shop till you drop.
And that's July the 29th. That will start from 12 till about 4. I will have additional information, but I'm going to have a dollar table, okay?
A dollar table.
That's right.
Nothing
you
wrong
get it
with
for
a dollar
Yeah,
table.
I'm going to start bagging. I'm going to put 5 for $1. You
Okay.
know, There's just some things I need to pass on.
That's not a problem. I remember we used to have dollar tables, and what it was in those days, we'll give you $1 if you come and take some of these things off the table. We'll give you $2 if you take twice as many things off this table and take them with you. So, yeah, I remember those dollar days, you know. All righty, so we got something coming up July 18th. That's the demonstration going to Lansing. And the 22nd, that's another event that we're going to get some more details on. And it looks like the 29th, we've got a dollar day and dollar tables and all kinds of things going on in Highland Park. I like the way it sounds.
It's hot. July is always a hot month. And we got the red peppers for you. We got the chili pepper for you.
All righty, July. During the rebellion, that's when things started to get hot, in July.
That's right.
All righty. Well, all right, Madam Grand Rising, is there anything else? Because you've given us a very full and detailed report. Anything else we need to know about that's going on in Highland Park?
I would just love to thank all my beautiful Facebook friends and friends that are not on Facebook that gave me so many beautiful prayers and wishes on my birthday yesterday. It was such a blessing.
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. All right.
Thank you, Maureen. Yeah, I didn't do much yesterday. I just kind of took it slow, you know. I said, no, I don't need to go out and party. I don't even need a short dog. I'm just happy to be here.
Amen. I'll say to you the next time you get a chance to catch up with your Treasury Department in Highland Park, mention my name to them. You know what I mean, okay?
I know what you mean.
And thank you so very much, all right?
Thank
Madam
you.
Grand Rising, as always, and soul. Thank you for wonderful and detailed pieces of information that make us feel good. Thank you, Madam Grand Rising.
Pleasure.
All right.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you now. All right. 313-868-4336, 868-0351, or 868-0342. Miss Clayton, at my school, we start summer school the 10th of July. And I'm hearing parents complaining. I don't know why my kid has to go to summer school. They need a rest. And you know, I got the letter from the school, and my child is now eligible and encouraged to go to summer school, and I just don't see the need. Ms. Taylor, please talk to me about that. So, Ms. Clayton, you know, I'm an advocate for education. You know, if you learn that 1 and 1 are 2, and 2 and 2 are 4, you learn that for the rest of your life. And I'm not clear about parents that say the children need a rest. They don't need no rest. There's nothing wrong with them.
They got plenty of energy. They don't need any rest.
Plenty energy. They don't need any rest. So there's always this argument that says over 2.5 months, when kids are out of school, their deficit education pieces go down. What is your thinking about kids going to summer school? And somebody's up there.
Maureen, you know, Detroit Public Schools, they aren't having summer school this year.
They are. They're
the
not.
high school students, the rising 8th graders going to 9th grade, the special education students, and the kindergarten children. They have summer school. The rest of the students, there's no summer school. There is no money. So the children at your school are blessed that they have a summer school program to attend.
What do you mean there's no money? There's plenty of money for school. What are you talking about?
Well,
no money?
That's what we've been told.
What?
All of my friends that are teachers, they are at home this summer.
868-4336, 868-0351, 868-0342. Governor's budget, I don't know if she signed off on it or not, but the new budget for Michigan calls, I think it's $9,700 an increase per student. There's plenty of money. I don't know. I don't even understand that. My kids start July the 10th, so July, August, is 6 weeks. It's a 6-week program. And we're picking kids up that need a ride, and lunch is going to be served because it's from 8 to 12. no Fridays, and field trips, all kind of stuff. Money,
And that's what all children should have.
money.
They said they don't have the money.
It's just some things that just don't make any sense. I believe that the 3 years we've been involved with COVID, it put a lot of students back. And in order to catch up and supersede and go further, kids need to have an educational opportunity, certainly an educational window, all the time.
All the time.
All the time,
All the time.
So, my goodness, I hadn't heard that none of the Detroit public school students, or very few, are being offered summer school.
When when I was
crazy.
younger, that's how it was. Only high school students had summer school and special education students. And so when I found that out, I said, oh, it reminds me when I was younger. I was so happy when all students were offered the opportunity to have summer school. We need it.
Yes. I don't even understand that. Boy, that makes no sense to me. We don't need less education. And now with this affirmative action thing that just got dropped on us, it looks like, in many countries, students go to school all year. And they get 2 weeks off in the summer, they get 2 weeks off in the winter, and they get 2 weeks off for another a block of time. They go to school all the time because that's what it takes. The brain can access and can hold a lot more information. And I know that every time summer gets here and you have that 2 weeks where kids are able to play and not have to get up first thing in the morning, if you don't have academia made available to you from June until September, so we talk about June, July, August, 2 months without any courses or whatnot, there's a deficit when you go back to school in
There's
September.
learning loss that occurs.
Yes, there's no question about that. Now, and I had something else I wanted to say about the learning.
So parents,
Go ahead.
please read with your children. If they're not going to be in school, we heard a young lady was telling another young lady yesterday. I heard this conversation. Oh, go to the dollar store. They have books and you can get books for your child. And I was so happy to hear one mother tell another mother where to get learning information for not expensive price. You don't have to go to the bookstore and pay $30 for a workbook. The dollar store has workbooks that your children can use.
What's that phrase I use all the time? You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. It has to be a way for continuing to learn, even if if it's over the summer, and a continual opportunity to try to bring the brains more information, because there's no such thing as learning too much.
Right.
No such thing. Now, I've got a niece who was selected. She's only 14, and she might be gone already. And she was selected in her class to do a 1 month internship, 14 years of age, in Spain.
Woohoo!
So she's gone, or might be gone. I'm not sure if she's left already. And I the only concern I had there is I thought she's 14. I don't know if I'd let my 14-year-old go to another country, But she's very excited. She was very excited about it, and her parents very, very excited about it. And she's not the only one that was selected. But I approve of those kinds of things because that's how you learn. The kids in my school are concentrated in the Brighton community, very low income, and they think of themselves as cloistered in this neighborhood right here. And several years ago, when I had access to more resources as the parent coordinator, I would get a bus, and I'd take 8th and 9th graders, particularly 8th and 9th graders, and take them on a tour around Brightmoor, but take them outside of Brightmoor so that they could learn. You live on Burt Road, you live on Fielding, you live on Pearson. Some of those streets are really historic streets, but they're things that happen outside of Brightmoor. And you need to know if you go down Burt Road or Evergreen, there's a street called Michigan, and on the other side, it's a city called Dearborn. And there are different people that might look different from you. And let's go in those stores and see what folks are talking about. If you go the other direction and you take Evergreen to 8 Mile and you cross 8 Mile, there's another community there. And to let the children know that here's where you live. But the world is a lot bigger than this piece of paper right here, you know? And so I think that's important. And I know a lot of parents that over the summer, they take their kids down south. Learning. Emmett Till went down south. And the lesson he learned is that he couldn't go back home. Didn't get all the details correctly and ended up being murdered and whatnot. But travel is education. Travel is education. Reading is education. Listening to different forms of music. Here, this little grandbaby that showed up, she's involved with something. What did they tell me? Mozart for babies. I didn't know there was such a thing, you know, and that's what the treasurer talked about. Beethoven for babies. I had no idea that there was even a concept like that, but, you know, to introduce different sounds, different opportunities and whatnot, I think that's so very important. It was still something else that I was going to ask you about. Oh, yeah. I know you and some other folks, but you and I have been involved in a particular project because you have access to a student that's got some hearing challenges. And I know that after I said to you that I'd gone to this college a couple of times, been a long time invited to speak at Gallaudet University that graduates hearing impaired and deaf students and whatnot. And we have a meeting coming up in another couple of weeks. Tell us a little bit, and you brought this up a year or so ago, the challenges that perhaps hearing impaired students that used to be able to go down to, what's the name of that place, the Detroit?
School for the Deaf on
Yeah,
John C. Lodge and Forest.
Yeah, it was a wonderful place. And all the students in the area that needed that kind of help were positioned to go there, and it was just a wonderful place, but it's closed now.
It's closed now,
So,
and
yeah.
I've spoken to people whose children are a little bit younger than me, and they said they even paid for their children to go to that school. So it was not just, you know, for Detroit Public Schools, but the school was so good at what they did with the students that people were paying from other districts to bring their children to Detroit.
And it was an outstanding place. And I know that as you've been looking for information to try to get more details about what programs are available for a student that may be hearing impaired, I know we're engaged in this conversation for several years now. Caller, thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. Caller, you on the air.
Hey, I don't know what the topic is because I can't get you on my screen anymore on my laptop.
HT, did you hear that?
Comcast is having a problem. They're not allowing us customers to streamline you anymore. But I wanted to I heard a little bit about a school, and I wanted to know if you guys knew about the billions of dollars that's supposedly coming in to help the at-risk students in our school system.
Yes.
I'm just hoping that money don't get misdirected.
Yeah, and we're having a little bit of that conversation now. And caller, did you have something, thoughts on your mind about the Supreme Court throwing out affirmative action as a concept?
This is so terrible. It's so terrible. But you know what? What hurts me the most is that I feel that there's too many black minds that has been colonized to support our demise. We vote these people in, or whoever gets in, they seem to crush and target our communities more than anybody.
Well, one of the big issues that's going around, the undercurrent of what happened with the Supreme Court, is this whole piece about voting matters. And because there was this groundswell to let former President Trump into the White House, one of the first things he did is start appointing federal judges, and then the recommendation of these 3 so-and-sos that he put on the Supreme Court. And you already had Clarence Thomas and what's the other one? Yeah. So now they make up that core, and how voting matters because people put him on there. But caller, what did you think of the fact that Donald Trump raised his arms and said he was victorious because he threw out that pathway? He shut that pathway down of allowing persons of color, women, to be able to get into some of these prestigious colleges. What did you think about that?
Well, I'm saddened that, like you said, the consequences of voting or not voting, because if you don't know how to vote and you make a mistake in your vote, then you're the ones that's going to suffer and be treated like a bad joke.
Sad but true, Carla. Sad but true.
Thanks for taking my call. It's prayer time, y'all.
All right, this is the truth. Thank you, caller. All right, thank you very much. 868-4336, 868-0351, or 868-0342. Let's talk a little bit more about opportunities for students that have health challenges. Now, I've got a family that I'm working with, and a number of the children in this one household are considered learning disabled, and more than one in this under this one roof. And in talking to the mom, who's got some other utility issues that she's dealing with, and she just kind of casually said something about some learning disabled children in her household, and that she wasn't able to access the kind of academic services that she needed. And I asked her some questions. What are you talking about? We have all kinds of stability programs in place. So what is it that you think you need that you haven't been able to get? And she said something like, well, the kids, the children in her household don't bring books home. Now, you know, I'm a favorite of having 2 sets of books. You have those that you deal with in the school, but you've got your own set of books at your household. And I said that to the mom, and we've been doing this at my school for all the while I've been there, and she said she didn't know.
And that's why children begin to not like the books, because do you remember when we were in school, you had to lug all those books home and lug them back and forth. And it would be so much better if children had a set of school books at home to use. And then there would be no excuses. You couldn't say, well, I forgot my book.
No, you couldn't say that.
Use that one. And so one thing I've learned, if our children have IEPs, you can have all of that written into an IEP. I have learned so much in the last...
And what do those initials stand for?
Individual Educational Plan. And children who have special education services receive those services, they have this plan. And inside that plan, parents, anything that you think that your child needs, you request it, and you get it put into the plan.
In writing.
In writing, and it has to be in writing. And even if you suggest something and the school says, oh, well, we don't think that's a good idea or we can't do it, there is a section called the parent section in that IEP. You put it in that parent section because it needs to be known that you made these requests, and the school has to tell you why they feel they don't have to provide that to your child. But you need everything that you want or need. And in our case with my grandson, there were about 27 items in the parent section. Because once I realized what that parent section was for,
powerful.
Everything they kept saying, well, we don't think and we don't, well, you're not going to give it to us, put it in that parent section because I want to know that, because you got to tell us why you're not going to give it to us. And it better be a good reason.
Yeah, as I'm sitting here, and I think about this all the time. Once I leave the station today, I'm going right to my job and do some things for a couple hours. And maybe, I don't know, I don't remember trying to access education being so difficult. I don't recall that. Now, I know one of the passages of working class community. All right. You young folks, you don't remember anything like this. Me and Henry Tyler, we will remember this. You always wanted to save enough money to get you a set of encyclopedias.
Yes.
And we had, what was the name of it, HT?
Britannica.
Britannica, and what was the other? World Book, was that the
World
name
Book
of it?
and-
World Book.
World Book
World Book
encyclopedias.
encyclopedias. And you wanted those things, make your household look prestigious because you got a set of encyclopedias in there. You grab the book and pictures and read definitions and the whole 9 yards. If you go to somebody's house back in the day and they had Britannica encyclopedias or the World Book. The World Book had white leather bindings. Oh, it was beautiful. We had some. And people would come to the house, my friends, and I would tell them, y'all are stupid. You ain't got no encyclopedias at your house. I got encyclopedias at my house. So my friends would come by and we'd go through and read the books together. And then here comes the internet. So we don't need that anymore. We can go to the internet or you can grab your phone and you can find everything you want on that telephone, but it just looked like the deficit started to rise because it wasn't encouraging anymore to read.
To read and
a
study,
book.
and conduct research. And there's a difference between holding a tablet and holding a book. And psychologists have noted this. There's a difference.
Well, I think part of that, and we're not going to be able to go back. All right, I still have. I think it was. I want to say it was 24 books in the World Book group. I have about 10 left, and that's because I loaned them out. My sister loaned them out. Nobody brought them back. After I was saying bad things about my friends,
Our
and
parents
they
went
took
into
the books.
Our parents went into debt to buy those books.
Yes, they did. Took 2-3 years to pay off them doggone
It was
things.
important that the
You know?
children had these research books and be able to do all the schoolwork plus some, and like you said, and not just their children, but the neighborhood children who didn't have
Yes.
them. Come on over here, let's study.
Mm-hmm. And so I say I still have those about 10 to 12 copies left of individuals, and they were in alphabetical order. And I remember when I stopped dealing with the world books, it was a significant time later. And I started to be interested in, what was that called? It was a Reader's Digest group. And I wanted to read the stories. And, I have to call Navarre and ask him what was the name of this other book. It was a reference book. I've got a dictionary. I have to find it because I think I loaned it to somebody that I had to bring it back. But I've got a dictionary that when you lay it down, it's this thick. I got one of those great big old ones. I have two large encyclopedias, A through L and then M through Z at my job. And kids will come in and, Miss Taylor, I don't understand this, I don't understand that. Okay, sit in a chair and let's talk about it. And they come up with the word, I remember the word chagrin. I couldn't spell the word chagrin for a long time because I thought it started with an S. Right? So a couple of kids a couple of years ago came in, man, we don't understand this word. Well, go to the encyclopedia on the podium right there and look it up. And they kind of sat there. What do you mean look it up? We got a phone. No.
Right.
I don't want you to go on your phone and look it up because you still can't spell it. Go to the encyclopedia on the podium in my office. And if it's not going to start with the letter S, what else could it start with?
What else could it start with?
Okay. And it took 10, 12 minutes. But by the time they're looking up how to get to this spelling of this word chagrin, C-H-A. Okay, C-H-A. They started looking at other words before you got to chagrin. Well, what's this word right here? Christian. Well, read it. What does it mean? What's the derivatives come from? What's the history of the word? Christian comes from the word Christ. Well, okay, I-A-N afterwards. That's a Latin phrase, and it says coming from. And they're reading and they're reading. See, they can't do that on the cell phone.
Can't do that on the cell phone.
Can't do that on the cell phone. So the importance of reading, which you talk about all the time, And back to this Gallaudet situation, we lost the Detroit School of the Deaf. And I'm not sure why that happened. My guess is, you know, when the population in Detroit began to drift down, we started losing a lot of things that we depended on for a very long time. And I'm not sure if that's the reason, and I'm really not sure if that's a rational response. Just because we went from 2 million to 700,000, we still have to put light bulbs on the street. We still have to have police presence in the community, and we should have kept the Detroit School of the Deaf.
We should have, and the building is still there. It houses the early childhood program. LRE came into existence, least restrictive environment, and that had a lot to do with it too. Why they put the programs into the schools where they are now. So, but here's the issue: if you're going to move that program, you still got to keep it a stellar program. And once they moved it, they diluted it, and it is not doing what it should be doing.
So I know that, and I only found that out after your involvement in researching, trying to find out what the devil happened. And if a program is concentrating on hearing impaired students, and that's what they do, everybody in the building is focused on that, then you take that out and you program it to other schools, and it's not as pure. It's not as concentrated. And I know that because you started to take a look, all of these schools that say we have these kinds of programs for hearing impaired, vision impaired, whatever, and you go to those schools and you take a look at the programs that are offered, and it is not anywhere near the same concentration, intensity, and inclusiveness as it was at the Detroit School of the Deaf.
It was not at all.
You know, and that was a big deal. I hadn't thought of that because I don't run into students that are hearing impaired. But because this was an issue, I always take the same thing. I don't care how difficult it is. Go find out what's wrong. We don't know. We don't know. Go get involved and go ask some questions. And I thought that this had a lot to do with color, but it's really got to do with money.
It has to do with money, Maureen.
Really got to do with money. Talk about that. It's about class.
It's about class and it's about money. One of the things I learned as I've been going through and trying to help my grandson improve his education, I'm not happy with things that are going on. Deaf and hard of hearing children and the visually impaired children, and tell me, how do we say it now? The hearing children with hearing differences, children with vision differences. They're changing the way we
classify.
Well,
yeah.
Right. According to IDEA, when Congress created IDEA, those two groups of students are the only two groups of students that do not have to follow LRE, least restrictive environment. And I had to use that when I went in to put him back into a self-contained classroom because at 5 years old, he wouldn't wear his hearing aids. And I kept saying, how you going to hear the teacher if you won't keep these hearing aids in? And so I said he's got to go into a classroom with children that look like him.
And wearing hearing aids.
And when he was in that classroom, guess what? He kept those hearing aids on because all of the children looked like him.
Yes.
But when he went into the general ed classroom, they came out. And those hearing aids are expensive, $5,000 for a little kid hearing aids.
That's ridiculous.
So I'm going, okay.
Should come free with the educational apparatus.
We got to do something about
You
this.
see?
Because we can't lose these things. We can't break them. They're too important to you learning.
Well, we've got little kids at my school, and they wear strong prescription glasses in order to see. And 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and then they send them out to the playground. Well, and then the glasses break. And then the next thing that happens is the welfare department says, well, we're only going to replace glasses once a year. Here comes welfare rights. We went in there and sued them. You got to
these
replace
are children.
Yeah, you got to replace them every time they get broke. And that's the way they are. Thank you, sir. And we have to do it every time. So now now that finally the breakthrough has happened, and we're going to have this meeting with a couple of folks from Gallaudet University. I've urged you already, let's get some money together and let's go there and talk to these folks. So here comes this conversation, and I really believe that this is going to open up a world of possibilities because they are the best. I've spoken in 2 graduation classes there. You don't clap there. You do this. So they are the best. So say a little something about what your expectations are.
Well, I'm working with of course, I'm working with Ms. Taylor. She's been so much help. And I'm working with other parents of children with hearing differences, and we're trying to see what is the best way to go about this. So we're making plans. So what is the plan we want the school district to do, and then what is a plan that the community, that as parents, as citizens, that we can do to support the children. So we're going to come up with 2 plans, and then we're going to ask them, they're the experts.
Yes.
Do these make sense? Are these workable? If not, what can we do to improve them? But what can we do to improve the learning outcome for our children? I want to see the test scores. They break down test scores in so many different categories, right? Black males, black females, age groups. I want to see what the test scores say, how our children with the deaf and hard of hearing, with our visually
impaired,
children with visual differences, how are their test scores? How are they progressing? Because as we talk about all of the children and how they are, they didn't progress as much during COVID. Now, when you mix in our special education children, they're even at a more at a deficit.
Yeah, more deficit, yeah. All right, well, we've bridged several subjects today. We hope that RJ will be lenient and will record this and replay this program. HT, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Try to repeat this as many times as possible. If you have some children that hear differently, okay, that's the new phrase, make certain you stay close to this because I think we're on the verge of a breakthrough of some sort. I sure hope so. We've heard a wonderful report from Highland Park. And voting matters. We've got an affirmative action fight that just showed up, and I think we're up to the cause. If you missed anything today, call us at Welfare Rights, 313-964-0618, 964-0618. And this Sunday at Central United Methodist Church, Woodward and Grand Circus Park, we're going to lay the ashes of our dear departed Al Gladdick, member of the League of Revolutionary Black Workers. We're going to bury Al's ashes with his friends right there at Central Church. Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, I'll be back, and who knows who'll be with me next Friday. Bye.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabree. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's Office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.